WWE Hall of Famer Edge says his match against Sheamus tomorrow night on SmackDown is the last match on his current WWE contract and talks about possible retirement after 25 years in World Wrestling Entertainment. Details on that, plus Lacey Evans is now officially gone from WWE. We've got some details surrounding her exit and the reasons behind it. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre Deathmatch took place last night on AEW Dynamite Fight for the Fallen. We've got details on how much money AEW was paid to have that match on the show, as well as where AEW is going to send that money. John Cena may have teased a match against current Intercontinental Champion Gunther, and Chris Jericho reveals at one point he was very close to having a cinematic wrestling match with Iron Mike Tyson. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of World Wrestling Entertainment. Let's start off talking about Edge. The Rated R superstar has spoken about his match against Sheamus tomorrow night on SmackDown, the first time they have faced off in singles competition inside of a WWE ring, as well as discussing the rumors surrounding a possible retirement for the Hall of Famer. Now, tomorrow's SmackDown will see Edge lace up his boots for his 25th anniversary match. The bout will see the WWE Hall of Famer face Sheamus in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, leading many fans and pundits to speculate that it might be his farewell match. Edge has now addressed the retirement rumours in an interview with ET Canada, but fans might not be happy with his answer. Here's what Edge had to say, quote, "Here's what I can honestly say, and this isn't the answer everyone wants. I truly don't know. I really, with 100% truth can say, I don't know. That's strange for me, but I don't. I really don't. I've put some thought into it, but not a lot. This is the last match on my current contract. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I probably won't know until I get to the locker room that night and decompress, let all the anxiety and tension that I never used to have before I performed, I have now. That's strange for me, and it makes it much harder to do this." He continued by saying, "I'm going to be 50 in October. It's not easy anymore. Before, what I used to take for granted to be able to do, now there is a process and a fallout. There's a lot. It's the dream gig, but it's getting really hard." As I mentioned, there has been speculation that Edge could be retiring this year. As I mentioned, according to Edge, he will be 50 years old in October, and performing in the squared circle isn't easy now that he's getting older. The Hall of Famer noted that he currently struggles to perform maneuvers that he used to take for granted. However, he also stated that being a sports entertainer is still the dream gig for him. So he has a lot to process before he makes his final decision regarding his retirement. Of course, a year ago, Edge stated that he might retire in 2023 when WWE returns to Toronto. Of course, it's entirely possible he's had a change of heart since then, and it remains to be seen indeed what his future plans are. So let me know your thoughts about this. Are we going to see Edge's final match ever tomorrow night inside of a WWE ring in his match against Sheamus? Or if he was going to retire, would WWE make a bigger deal about it? And would Edge go on a retirement tour? Do you expect Edge to sign a new contract with WWE? Do you expect Edge to maybe go to AEW and reunite with Christian Cage to have at least one final match against his former tag team partner or with his former tag team partner before he decides to call it a day? Let me know your thoughts about it in the comment section below. Now, one person who has left WWE is Lacey Evans, and we've got some more details on her exit from the company. Some new details have emerged on the departure of Lacey Evans from WWE after she'd been with the company for 7 years. As noted yesterday, after Evans had pretty much done everything possible to hint that she was leaving WWE, it was officially confirmed that she was removed from the current roster page on WWE.com. Until Evans' social media activity had hinted at it for a couple of days, the departure came somewhat out of the blue. Of course, Evans hadn't been used much on TV in recent months, but there hadn't been any reports or other indications that she was about to leave WWE entirely. Given the lack of prior context, there were no real details about the nature of Evans' departure, that being whether she'd requested her release and it had been granted, whether WWE had released her without requesting it, or whether it was a contract expiry. The question seemingly has now been answered, as both PW Insider and Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio have reported that it was a contract expiry. That means Evans won't have a non-compete clause and is a free agent available to work anywhere as of right now. Evans hasn't really made any hints about her wrestling future, apart from saying she's opening a diner soon and is probably going to go to some kind of paywall content. She's also now going by her real name as Macy Estrella or Limitless Macy on social media. If we get any more updates on her future, of course, we'll let you know. But now that she's gone from WWE, during the latest Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer has weighed in with what possibly could have led to her departure. He said, quote, "I remember when she was in NXT and she was brought to the main roster, she had that giant push at first," Meltzer recalled. "She got the big push at first, then she would get weekly vignettes, and not a push at all. It was the craziest thing ever. But a lot of her lack of exposure had to do with Vince being gone because Vince was her proponent. Ever since Vince McMahon stepped back from being the head of creative in July 2022, Evans' television time had decreased. At the beginning of the year, Evans was repackaged with a military gimmick similar to that of Sergeant Slaughter, but it only resulted in her picking up a couple of squash victories. Evans lost her last 3 televised matches this year, with her final one airing on SmackDown in June. A 33-year-old, first time with WWE NXT in 2016 and took part in the 2017 Mae Young Classic. She transitioned to the main roster at the start of 2019 and entered at number 1 in that year's Women's Royal Rumble match. Her biggest feud came later that spring against Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's Championship. Evans also made history alongside Natalya that year when they took part in the first WWE Women's match at a Saudi Arabia event. Her last high-profile feud took place in early 2020 when she turned babyface and challenged Bayley for the SmackDown Women's Championship. But those are kind of the latest details regarding Lacey Evans. Again, if we get any more details in the future, we'll let you know. Now, social media has been on fire today when it comes to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Deathmatch that some are regarding as the worst match in AEW, certainly AEW Dynamite history. Now, AEW Dynamite had a sponsored match on August 16, tying into the upcoming Texas Chainsaw Massacre video game. Highlights of the match can be seen all over social media, and again, a lot of people have been talking about it, including the appearance from Leatherface himself. The match was a bloody and chaotic affair, but featured plenty of involvement from Jarrett's associates and Matt Hardy, which resulted in Jarrett scoring the tainted victory. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre Deathmatch was the tie-in for the upcoming video game that is released on PlayStation 4 and 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series S and X, and Microsoft Windows on August 18, 2023, that being tomorrow. Speaking on the aforementioned sponsored match, Dave Meltzer revealed the details of the partnership on Wrestling Observer Radio, saying, quote, "It was a big number. It was over $100,000 sponsorship. The networks wants the sponsorship and everything like that." Of course, this isn't the first time that AEW has had a sponsored match, with the Cracker Barrel Clash at All Out in 2019 being their first tie-in. Recently, WWE have had big sponsored matches at the Royal Rumble, with the Mountain Dew Pitch Black match being a recent notorious example. In addition to that, you had recently the Slim Jim SummerSlam Battle Royal at the aforementioned Premium Live event earlier on this month. Now, Tony Khan, though, has revealed, and I suppose this kind of ends in a positive story for AEW, he's revealed that 100% of the funds from the sponsor will go to the Maui Food Bank in a post on Twitter. In the run-up to the August 16 episode of Dynamite, it was revealed that it would be a Fight for the Fallen special to raise proceeds for the Maui Food Bank after wildfires in Hawaii have destroyed parts of the region. He said, quote, "Thank you to all who watched AEW Dynamite tonight. If you haven't seen it yet, please check it out, and please donate to the Maui Food Bank. Thank you once again to Warner Bros. Discovery and our team for helping rework tonight's whole creative, including Texas Chainsaw Massacre game, with 100% of the funds from the sponsor going to the Maui Food Bank." So realistically, then, you've got a situation where they were paid $100,000 for the sponsorship, and the entirety of that $100,000 have gone to the Maui Food Bank. So certainly a well-worthy cause considering the situation at the moment. Going back to WWE, John Cena has teased a big match if indeed he returns to a WWE ring. Cena has not wrestled a match for WWE since WrestleMania 39 in Los Angeles, where he was defeated by Austin Theory in the opening match of the weekend. Cena made a surprise appearance, though, at Money in the Bank in London last month, where he took part in a segment with Grayson Waller, which had people speculating about a potential next match for the 16-time world champion. Cena, he's basically won everything in his WWE career, with one major omission from his resume being the Intercontinental Championship currently held by Gunther. Today, Cena posted a rather interesting Instagram photo, simply posting a picture of the near record-breaking Intercontinental Champion. Gunther is now just a few weeks away from becoming the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion in history. He is set to defend the title against Chad Gable on next week's episode of Raw. Gunther will break the record for the longest reigning Intercontinental Intercontinental Champion a few days after Payback on September 9. Do you think there's a possibility that John Cena could face Gunther? And what a story would that be when it comes to Cena trying to win the only championship he's never won in WWE and break the near record-breaking run of Gunther? Do you think this match is possible, and do you think WWE could do it considering all of the strikes going on with actors and writers at the moment in Hollywood? Finally, Chris Jericho, he's opened up on how close he was to having a match with Iron Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson might have admitted that he prefers working for WWE over AEW, but he has still made a number of appearances over the years for Tony Khan's company, including being ringside for the inaugural TNT title match. However, fans were almost treated to something involving the legendary boxer and none other than Chris Jericho. Quote, Mike Tyson and I almost had a cinematic match. We were this close to doing one, Jericho revealed on the AEW Some podcast. Awesome, AEW Some. See, it's a pun. It was going to be Tyson versus Jericho in a New York street fight, but we just couldn't make it happen. We were really deep into the negotiations too. Jericho and Tyson did cross paths on several occasions during his pop-ins with AEW, and the two men had made history once upon a time in WWE as well. But according to Jericho, it would have taken millions of dollars to make such a bout happen. Quote, we were going to do it in New York, like an alley fight basically, he said. Think they live, but with Tyson and Jericho, that's kind of what I had in mind. Despite the two men having on-screen tension at time, they did ultimately bury the hat trick and shake hands after Tyson helped the Inner Circle during their feud against the Pinnacle. So what would that have looked like? A New York City street fight between Mike Tyson and Chris Jericho? Would that have done big business for AEW? Or are you glad that it didn't happen? Let me know your thoughts about that. But there you go, guys. The latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.